What's up, guys? What's up, Jazz? Took me a little while to get to this one because I didn't know which story to tell. But I dug through my arsenal and I have a good one for everybody. Just let me make sure that I'm not gonna, crash. Okay, so cheese? Every time I say that, I think of cheese. It's bad. When we were younger, we used to play games, board games, all the time. A little bit of background history. I come from a family of 9, and I am the third oldest, 32. We range from, and I don't remember everybody's exact age, but roughly 20 to nearly 40. So I'm like, age-wise, just about in the middle. But as kids, we grew up without TV, and we were homeschooled, and that's why our brains still worked, apparently, as opposed to the rest of the population. And that also meant that we were isolated and felt odd compared to the kids who were force-fed TV from the get-go. Anyway, so instead of watching TV all the time, we played board games with each other, or we would make stuff up. We would make games up and play them outside, or we would go exploring down the canal, or we would go terrorize the neighbors, or climb up buildings we weren't supposed to be climbing up. We did a lot of bad kid kind of things. And me and my brother, my just down younger brother, he's 3.5 years younger than me, we were always the terrorizers of the family. We were always at each other's throats and getting in trouble with the local sheriff department for whatever reason, or we weren't terrible, like we weren't going around vandalizing and tagging stuff. We weren't into that. We weren't into like gangs and drugs and all that, but as far as just little rapscallions, we were definitely bad kids. But back to the story. So we used to play board games all the time. Some of the favorites we would play would be Monopoly, Life. I don't know if any of you remember that game. Scrabble. We've played some card games. We would play War with just regular deck of cards. We would play. Sorry, I gotta watch out for the popo, since I'm kind of talking on the phone and driving. War, yeah, we'd play War. Skippo. We played Connect 4. My chin looks unusually bright and shiny. What other games did we play? Charades, we loved that game. That was very nice. I, of course, played chess every once in a while, but not nearly to the extent that I do nowadays. Spoons, remember that card game, Spoons? We played a lot of board games, and we changed rules around, invented new rules, invented games. We just like we were creating all the time as kids. We didn't understand what it meant or anything, or we didn't ever understand that we were going to try to be conditioned out of that, but we were creating all the time as children. And that was the magical sort of world that we didn't realize we were in until we were sucked out of it. But to get back to the story, so we were playing, we had Yahtzee as well. We would play that. That was one of my favorite games. It's kind of this game of, it's a bit of a game of chance, but there's a little bit of strategy in there. Simple game of just dice, numbers, and categories. And So we always had dice around from Yahtzee and other dice games. I don't remember what other games we had that involved dice, but it wasn't just Yahtzee. But we liked to play games with the dice. We liked to, outside of the Yahtzee game, we would just try to hit a number a certain amount of times, or we would try to, we would just make up rules and see if we could have it play out on the dice. And one of our dice, or die, I think I should call it, as a single dice. One of our dice pieces had for the one side, the single dot. The dot was enlarged. It was somehow bigger than it was supposed to be. So instead of just being a dot in the middle of the face of the dice, it was maybe 3 times bigger than the hole, or the one, the dot should have been. And not only that, but it was red. I don't remember if we did that or if we found it like that. I do not remember the origin of that dice, but what do you call it? The number 1 side of the dice, the hole, was red. And we always joked about that dice. For some reason, we were always joking about that we called it the devil dice or something. It was, we put some sort of supernatural, like, bad energy into it. It was, exciting and thrilling to think of, how kids are. We like, doing that kind of stuff, scaring ourselves. So it was the devil die, and this story is the story of how the devil die came to its final demise or resting place. So one day we were playing Yahtzee or something. We were playing with dice, and I was the one rolling the dice during this, and we had the devil die in the rotation, and I was playing Yahtzee, and I rolled the 1, and every time we rolled the 1, the giant red eye, the Eye of Horus or whatever. Every time we rolled that, we just joked about it. We're like, oh, you're calling the devil, or oh, this is, something bad's gonna happen now. We would just like mess around every single time somebody rolled that red 1. And so we did it. Of course, we did it this time too. We started joking about how that's the devil die and whatnot. And so I rolled it again. Yeah, I must not have been playing Yahtzee because you're always rolling all the dice. So this was outside of the game of Yahtzee. But I rolled it again, and I hit the giant red 1 again. And we were like, oh, whoa, that's weird. That's like some sort of a sign or something, right? That we're hitting the evil 1 twice in a row. So we started talking about like, oh, there's no way you're gonna hit that 3 times in a row. There's no way. And we were kind of like amping up the situation and titillizing and scaring ourselves. So I rolled it again, and I hit it again, and we were still joking, and we were still like, oh, but it was getting a little bit less funny and a little bit more like, we were feeling maybe like something was going on. We were getting a little nervous, and so I'm sure we had some conversations and about what would happen if we hit that red, or if I hit that red the 4th time, and I rolled it again and it hit the 4th time, and we were starting to get like, I wouldn't even say scared. It was just like the energy was ramping up with every single roll that I did, and we stopped joking about it. Like all the humor went out of the situation. I think after the fourth roll, and I think we were having some discussions about how it would probably be wise to stop rolling the dice. Just, you know, we sensed that something was a little off, but I was like, no, I gotta do it. I gotta keep going. So I rolled it again, and it of course it hit. You know, it hit for the 5th time, and we just jumped back from the dice a little bit. We kind of like were looking at each other, disbelieving that the situation was even happening. And I think my brother was saying, you know, don't roll that dice again. Don't do it. You're like, don't roll it again. You can't roll that. You cannot roll that dice again. And so we had longer debate on whether or not I should roll it again. And we eventually concluded that either we concluded that I should, or I just rolled it because, you know, devil's advocate that I am, I'm a troublemaker, and plus I wanted to see if it would actually hit for the 6th time. And so I rolled it again, and it hit again. It hit for the 6th time, and we both literally like jumped up. We jumped up and back from the dice, and I grabbed the dice, and I forget exactly what I did with it. I think I might have flushed it down the toilet, you know, given it a proper goldfish type burial. But I might have burned it, or I might have smashed it. I don't remember exactly how, but I either destroyed it, buried it as far as I could under the ground, or I flushed it down the toilet. It was one of those. And that incident stayed with me for so long after that happened. It was just because I never looked up the odds of rolling the same number on one die 6 times in a row, but I think it's pretty unlikely, because it's like 1 in 6 times. It's like 6 to the 6th power. I think that's the odds of rolling it 6 times in a row, which is a very high number. So that freaked us out. That freaked me out. I decided at that point I was never ever gonna like tempt evil spirits or tempt what I considered the devil to be, because just the unlikelihood of that happening with the one that was somehow enlarged and red, you know, seemed totally impossible. So at that point I became converted beyond pure materialism. I became converted beyond that at that point. Not necessarily to any religion or anything like that, but I was converted from the mundane to the supernatural possibilities at that point. So it was actually kind of a good thing, but it was very heart-pumping moment. I'm sure my brother will remember if I bring that up to him, but anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that story, and I'm going to do some mundane things. Gotta change my front tires, which are getting bald, so I'm gonna drop $300 or $400 on those, and I'll be back with something else later. All right, everybody have a good one. Peace.